It's Ryan Cobb, King Loan Slayer of Futures Funding.
That's probably really loud.
You
What's up,
remember-
dude?
Remember when that was going to be your title? Like, what should my title be?
At one-
King Loan Slayer.
At one point in time, that was my
I know,
title.
it's amazing.
Like director of sales now, just so boring.
No, it's like, oh, partner.
How am I not wearing a tie right now?
Oh, thank God we don't wear ties.
I think I own 2 ties.
I don't think
I
have
wore one at that gala. A gala? Is it
Oh,
a
yeah,
gala
yeah,
or a
yeah.
gala?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We go to galas.
I've been to one.
We're fancy.
I've been to one.
I think I went to 2 that week, too.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
fancy.
I don't know if you should brag about that.
I have a bougie wife, so that was not until I met her did James McCarthy ever step foot in a gala.
My wife was excited to go, though.
Let alone be invited to a gala.
I know.
Like, do I have to shave my beard?
I'm like, can I put my paddle up?
I mean,
When they called to collect that bid, though, I was like, shit. In the moment, I was like, Tears for Africa or whatever.
right.
I'm like, the baskets. I'm like, I'll buy a basket. I'll buy a basket. That was a sick video.
amazing.
Anyways,
Well,
what's up?
thanks for driving up. Get a little FaceTime. Do it in
Easy.
the office. Nice little video with our okay sign in the background.
Dude.
I think it looks better. It's a Mona Lisa, right? It's
I mean-
far from good, but good from far away.
I mean, yeah. That's great.
Pixelated.
Oh, and I think they say it's a, no, I'm not going to do it. Never mind. Okay, good.
Well, our last video was a success, so I want to do another one. Today I want to talk about the challenges that we face sometimes, right? People can be on the fence of, should I use a broker or should I not use a broker? Which I totally understand, but I don't think people quite understand how much value we actually bring when it comes to problem solving.
Yeah.
As well as just having the solutions kind of in our back pocket, so you're not losing money in EMDs or time, right? Because time is the killer of all deals. So I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Sure.
I'm going to have you walk us through some real life scenarios you've gone through in the last couple of weeks or a couple of days, actually.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the first one is a borrower comes to us. They got a great deal. On paper and our application, everything looks great. Like, they got plenty of money to close the deal. Their credit's great. And the deal's great. This just looks like it's going to be an easy transaction, right?
Yeah. That's how they all look.
Right? But as we know, every deal has hair. And like we like to say, and our job is to kind of get to the hair as quickly as possible and then sift through it so we can find a solution or honestly, just say no quickly, right? Because if we can't provide the solution, I don't want you sitting around waiting for 2, 3, 4 days for us to then go ahead and say, hey, sorry, we can't do this, right? So borrower looks good. They got a 700 plus credit score. Credit gets pulled, and lo and behold,
Wah, wah.
it's lower than we hoped.
Yeah.
So I'll let you walk us through the last one.
Yeah, so I think it's really easy in that scenario to feel hopeless when you're the borrower, right? Like, I think if you went directly to the lender, let's play out how that looks, right? I'm really excited about this loan. Everyone's looking forward to it. We're getting entity docs. We're getting scope of work done. We pulled your credit 2 weeks into the transaction, and actually it's below what you thought. And unfortunately, not only does it change your terms, we can't do the deal. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I get those phone calls all the time. Right, I thought I was good with this lender. I'm in a pickle. Can you help me out? Right? So what we try to do, and what all the reps are trained to do as well, is we want to get ahead of anything that's going to impact your numbers or this deal at all as quickly as possible.
Yes.
So some of those things, 1 being credit, 2 being the valuation, right? Those are probably the 2 biggest things
Top 2 for sure.
that I want to nip in the bud right away. So if I'm working with a lender that has a credit minimum, which is frankly most of them, we want to get that soft credit pull done as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a hard credit pull if we go with that route.
Yep.
Either way, the borrower is going to know going into it. So yep, case in point, here we are, bread and butter deal, good spread, good timeline to close, no issues whatsoever. We get straight to it, beat feet, get everything submitted with the lender, do the credit pull. Credit's 6 something, right? Below the threshold. So 640 is kind of like the market wide lower end. 680 is definitely, I would say, market wide. 700 in this case was where our threshold was. So what that ended up being was a quick phone call to the borrower. hey, we have a small problem, right? And here's a couple solutions. So this was within a couple hours of them applying, right? So, hey, I know that you thought your credit was this. This is what it came back at. And here's my 2 solutions. One, we go to a different lender, and here's your numbers. Boom, right? Got an offer to her right then and there. And how does this sit with you? Is this something that you want to move forward with? And this is also different, of course, than it was with the first lender, as you would imagine, because now you're going to a non-credit lender. So at the end of the day, you're going to pay for it.
It's going to be more expensive.
Is what it is.
Yep.
So, or I have some people in my network that are always looking to be a part of deals, right? So there's people that either have liquidity and have poor credit, or have good credit and no liquidity, right? One way or the other. Or it's just people who are just looking to partner on deals, right? So what I do is, if I've closed a handful of deals for folks in the past, what I like to do is I just say, hey, if you want, I can keep you in mind when something comes up where I feel like might add value to you one way or another if you want to be involved in a transaction. I had a gentleman that has made it known that that's what he wants, put him in contact with her, and those two formed an entity together. So what they're going to do is they're going to use his credit and her experience, and they're going to get the loan done. It's not going to affect their timeline whatsoever, and we're swimming forward towards closing already just with that solution right there.
Perfect.
Boom.
So what would that conversation have been if you were just going direct to the lender?
We can't do your deal.
Yeah.
And then what I was getting at with the 3 weeks, or the finding out in 2 weeks, is then you've lost your EMD.
Exactly.
And some of these people were I saw a $15,000 EMD. I saw a $40,000 EMD like 3 or 4 weeks ago. We went to closing. I didn't even know this. I saw it on, if you remember, he got cash back at closing.
Yeah.
Put a $40,000 EMD down.
Yeah.
Shoo.
That's crazy.
I don't recommend that.
I mean, it better have been a smoking deal.
He could have done it cash. So it was one of those.
So there you go.
It was a little bit of a different borrower.
Cash is king.
Cash is king. So yeah, so that's one example of a quick solution that we can provide, right? Is if you've got hair on the deal, if you will, or unforeseen circumstances that come to light, how we can just help provide some solutions.
Awesome.
Or walk away from it, right?
Or walk away, right? I mean,
say, hey, let's get away from this.
There are times where so many issues hit a deal where I know you and I have the conversation. Maybe it's time to tell them, maybe the universe doesn't want you to do this transaction, right?
100%.
And I think one of the pitfalls for newer real estate investors is they get emotionally tied to the actual win of closing a transaction.
Yeah.
That they lose sight of that this is a math problem.
Sure.
Right? So the deal becomes so thin after financing and an extra rehab cost that we weren't expecting at the beginning of the deal, where it's like, man, you're really only going to make like $12,000 or $13,000 on this deal, and that gives you no room to have like any extra increase in your cost of holding the property or rehabbing the property. And so one of the things that we do is just have that realistic conversation with borrowers of like, hey man, are you sure
100%.
you want to do this deal? Because I know you've got $3,000 EMD on the line, but that might just be the cost of doing business, dude. Like, this might not be the best deal to get done.
Yeah.
Especially after running numbers, right? And getting a valuation back. And if that drops, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, chasing data, not drama, or facts over feelings.
Correct.
We have these conversations regularly. Like, hey, I know you like this deal. I could even get this deal done for you.
Yeah.
However, this is at like 74.9% ARV. And it's a 6-month term. You have no experience. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Do we really want to do this? Because I would love to say it's not the truth, but at 5 months and 2 weeks, my phone rings regularly with folks that are in 6-month loans that go, hey man, I don't think I can sell this thing. I go, okay, well, let's talk about a refi. Right. And what happens? How are you going to do a refi at 75% when your loan's already at 75%? What does that mean?
That means bringing cash to the table, right?
And that's not good. Because they call me for a cash out refi and they're doing a cash in refi.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. That's
not good.
It's a very common pitfall, unfortunately. Now, one thing that you can count on with futures funding, right? Because we're brokers who don't suck. But we're just going to be honest with you, right? And we actually care about the success of our clients.
Right.
And it's not just about getting a deal done and us getting paid on this transaction. We want long-term relationships with these borrowers, and that it behooves us to help them be successful in their decision making, right?
Really just become an added team member.
Exactly.
To look at your deal and say, hey, like this looks really good. This spread is great, right? This is going to be excellent. Or, hey, this is kind of thin. Are we sure we're going to do this?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the borrower's making the investment decision, their business decision. I'm just here to be a sounding board, right? But I definitely agree with you. Like, I'm not here to eat off of any one deal. And I've told clients no on a deal that I could fund because it's too thin or we just don't feel good about it.
Yeah, there's
like, I don't
the
know.
gut saying, I don't know about this.
And then they know. They're like, oh, wow, this guy really does care about the well-being of my business or myself type thing.
Yeah. So kind of an inverse problem that comes across is that great deal, numbers look good, valuation looks like it's going to come back just fine, their credit's great.
Yeah.
They just don't have the cash to close right now.
Yeah.
Walk us through that.
Same thing, different scenario. I mean, just flip it, right? Yeah. So make the phone calls to the folks that have the bigger bank accounts and just say, hey, I've got a deal that needs a partner. And I've worked with this individual. I've talked to them. This is kind of my general feeling about them as an investor. Are you open to exploring a conversation, right? So really just bringing my old world of recruiting into this. Yeah. It's just I'm a professional matchmaker at that point. Right. Like, hey, will someone please call me, first of all, and tell me that they've got like a deal that I can make $15,000 on. All I have to do is give them my credit, like, or my money. Like, right. Sure, yeah. What a great phone call on a Monday morning. I'd welcome that.
Everyone loves that phone call.
100%. They're stoked. They're like, right, thanks so much. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And then the other solution is gap lenders. Like, so we don't offer gap lending, but I do have some clients that have deeper pockets that they want me to keep them in mind when folks are looking for gap.
This scenario comes across the table.
So if they meet the specific parameters of the gap lender, right, and they're all different on what they want, a couple verifiable exits, maybe credits this, they're going to live in the same state of transaction, whatever they're going to do, it's their money. Yeah. And then I just pair them together and, we essentially broker gap at that point. Yeah. I mean, we don't do it a ton, right? Because I really only do it for certain clientele, if you will, but
this is one of the benefits of having the relationship with our company.
Yeah.
It's really hard for us to get on board with if we've never worked with you.
Yeah.
And there's already some challenges in your file of connecting you with one of our great investors, right? Like we try to protect and we try to make sure that everyone's making sound, good decisions through the process, right?
And I think I know that it builds confidence with the lenders as well. Because, we had a deal not too long ago that we didn't like. And it was, we had spidey senses the whole time. And I mean, let's be real. We're on the internet. People can find us. Yeah. They do.
The World Wide Web.
That's funny. They go to apply for the loan, and for whatever reason, my intuition is just kind of going off, right? I'm like, I don't know. Something's a little suspect here. And I let the lender know, right? I shot it in writing. Like, hey, just so you know, I'm just kind of feeling a little bit off about this because of X, Y, and Z. And it ended up being where the client didn't even have money to close the deal, right? And it was like, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But what helped us and what saved face was we let the lender know right away, like, hey, just so you guys know, this is kind of what we're seeing. This is how we're feeling. So we're also the lender's eyes, right? Because we really do genuinely care that on both sides of the aisle that like the lender's not getting a shitty client and that
we have a fiduciary responsibility to both partners, right?
Yeah.
Our client, that's the investor, and really our partner and client also, that's the lender.
Yeah.
We bring them good deals in order to get real estate investors the best rates with our volume. If we brought them 100 deals that all started defaulting,
that's a problem.
How are they going to look at our next deal we sent?
Well, I think we just take that sign down then.
Exactly.
And then we're like brokers that do suck. Yeah. So I'm just out of curiosity, where does that expression come from for you? Because I know it's fun to say. I say
the brokers who don't suck?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was here when you got it or when you coined it.
So I don't know if there's a single moment origin.
Yeah.
But I have answered so many phone calls from people interviewing me as a broker that when they find out I'm a broker and not a direct lender, I can hear them go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm like, yeah, but I'm different. I'm not your normal broker. And so the brokers who don't suck, coining that term was perfect for the company because we really try our absolute best. No, we do operate with integrity. It was 100%. Not just trying. But we try to do the right thing every single time.
Oh, we do the right thing every single time.
And that has cost us money on loans.
Yeah.
And it's cost us monies with our lending partners. But at the end of the day, we're trusted on both sides of the aisle. And that is the most important thing in this industry, because our word and our character is everything. Like,
Right.
you start doing crappy loans or start pulling shady stuff, it's not that big of a space, right? You get a bad reputation and it's really easy to get blacklisted. I've seen it happen with
Right.
other brokers. And man, just half the time, they really do suck. Like, you hear the stories from our clients and you're like,
I'm like, how are you charging? How you were paying this guy what? Like
exactly
3 or 4 points?
4 points?
I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Are you serious? Like, no, we work at a point. Like, you're working at 2 points in total. Like, it
Yeah.
is what it is. Like, this is fair pricing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and because I think about that, like, it's because there are some really good brokers out there.
sure.
100%. Like, we've done business. We've daisy
Absolutely.
chained with a
Absolutely.
handful of them. But we've also gone to some conferences and met some folks with some slickbacks and some snake oil. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, how are
This could possibly. This
Yeah.
is a maybe.
a lot of shoulds, a lot of maybes. We'll see. You should hear back by. It's like, and I think that's, something that I know we're very different at is I'm just going to give you definitive answers. You might not like the answer, but I'm going to tell it to you how it is, and hopefully it's going to work out in your benefit. But if not, like, let's do the next one, or let's figure out how we can do it differently, or hey, maybe we're not a fit on this loan. We'll see you on the next one.
Right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But the shoulds, maybes, while we're shopping in the back end, or the stuff's going on behind the curtain, I can't believe that is the norm.
That's kind of industry standard. And it's not just brokers. It can be your contacts at direct lenders, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We ran into that a dozen times in the last year.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is to tell them, hey, we're brokers who don't suck.
So we're not going to suck.
So can you please not suck?
Yeah. 100%.
How do I communicate this to my borrower now, Mr. Lender?
Yep. Something else I think that is, we're kind of doing some shielding, right, to the borrowers. But I think some people in these transactions, I don't know why they get so emotionally charged, right? But the way that they speak to people and the way that they get so fired up, and it's just like, we take all that for you.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't even understand the
Yeah.
level of stress we've removed
Yeah.
from your life.
yeah, it's not going to be, it's going to be a smooth and easy process as much as possible. We're going to keep you in the loop. But yeah, some people, man, I don't understand why the emotions get so highly charged and the way that people speak to one another.
So how often do you get a call from a borrower saying, Ryan, what's going on with my deal?
Never. Because, so in the beginning of the day, I'm going to let you know where the deal is, or anyone on our sales team. And at the end of the day, I'm going to let you know where the deal is. When we're going into the weekend, right? Because I'm frankly going to be hanging out with my kids on Saturday and Sunday, unless we have a deal closing Monday morning, which is something like that. We're going to go into the weekend. I'm going to say, hey, we're going to hit the ground running on Monday. These are what our needs are. Please reach out over the weekend if you need something. But for the most part, I'll talk to you on Monday, right? And there's really absolutely no mystery on where your file is the whole time.
We pride ourselves on top tier communication, right?
Yeah.
And to the point of we over communicate on purpose, right?
Sure.
Like you might be like, God, I know exactly where it is because you told me it wasn't going to change from Tuesday to Thursday, but you're still going to get a touch from us because we don't want you ever wondering where your deal's at or what's going on with your file.
Sure.
And you just don't. People don't do that in this space like we do.
Yeah.
And it became like when I started futures funding, it became really easy for me to implement that to just stand apart, right? And so we continue. Then you carry the torch.
It's like I mean, calling it as it is. Like I'm relatively newer in this space, right? We're going on 3 years now.
Yeah.
So recruiter beforehand, firefighter for a dozen years. So I'm still learning as we go, right? And I mean, at this point, I've closed a fairly high volume of loans, so I'm very confident in what I do, the team that I run, so on and so forth. But I mean, you have obviously come out of the direct lending space, so Derek knows, your business partner, what the industry standard is like. But for me, this is just me being me,
right?
Yeah, like like what do you mean?
You don't know any different.
Yeah, I call people back,
right?
I tell them how it is.
I don't call people back quickly
when I say I'm going to,
or when there's a problem, we just discuss it.
Yeah,
we don't try to ignore it.
Yeah,
and say this probably won't be an issue.
Yeah,
right. I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think like if I'm the one borrowing the money, how would I want to be treated throughout this process? And then I just treat the people like that. It's pretty simple.
Well, what's silly is that oftentimes it removes the borrower to actually bring a solution that we might not even be aware of to the table when you keep them in the dark.
Right.
Right. Let's get everyone who has a vested interest in closing this deal involved in the solution.
Sure. I like it. What else you got?
So, and this is kind of a one-off scenario. It's not a one-off scenario. It happens. It's like, hey, it's Monday, right?
Okay.
Well, I guess today is.
Today is Monday.
Oh, it is Monday. Perfect. Yeah, it's busy. And my deal just fell apart with this lender. I got to close on Thursday. Most lenders are going to say, if you've never closed a deal with them before, can you get an extension?
Sure.
We are going to say, can you get an extension?
Yeah.
It's going to be easier. But we do have an option for that.
I have a couple options.
Options for that. So just walk us through one scenario that was kind of like the slant, like no one really likes closing deals this fast because it's a little more intense and everyone's pushed up against a tight timeline and
Sure.
we've got to kind of micromanage the process, but it can be done.
That happens all the time. We close them almost every week like this. So, I think leading with that, not our favorite thing to do, is what it is. Because something happens when you put time on the board for people. People act crazy. Yeah, they just act crazy. Actually, one of our reps, right, for this one, deal came in, I think, on Thursday night, late Thursday night, and it's closing tomorrow, so Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, two business days. So what that looks like for this particular lender would be we would get the purchase agreement, pictures of the property, scope of work, verification of funds, and 3 comps in the area. Comps have to be within 1 mile radius, sold within the last 6 months, ideally, to a year if need be. So we know their product really well. We've closed an okay amount of deals with them. They're a really good lender. A 6-month term, going to come at a little bit of a higher cost, but at the end of the day, you're getting a deal done in like 2 business days. Yeah. So what it does is, what we'll do is we take the pictures, take all those aforementioned points, send them to the lender. They'll do a valuation within a business day, and then they're going to tell you yes or no. So that particular lender will do 90% LTC with no experience, up to 75% ARV, covering 100% of your reno. So honestly, really bread and butter. So at that point, once the lender says that they like the deal, then we're moving forward just like a normal transaction. It's just at like a warp speed. So all I'm going to need is your entity documents. You already sent me your purchase agreement, any addendums whatsoever. We're going to loop in title, loop in insurance, and we're basically going to get rocking and rolling. And their processors are on point. They're like some of the best in the business. I love working with them. So that's going to close probably tomorrow. And what does traditionally end up happening in those experiences in those circumstances, is I find that title can't perform that quickly.
Yeah.
Right? It's like title's like, whoa, hold on. Like, we're a conventional title shop. What are we talking about? Close in 2 days. But every now and then there's title companies. I'm not going to name any of them, but by name. But there's companies out there that is literally what their brand is to close deals in 24 hours.
That, and sometimes if the transaction's gone a decent amount down the road with the past lender, a lot of the stuff's already prepared.
That's
right?
a good point.
And so all they have to do is kind of change who the lender is and who the Alta policy is written to and any insurance. But there are third-party delays, right? And we try to make our borrowers aware of any of those delays up front.
Yep.
But you just can't foresee it until it happens. You never know when an appraiser is just going to go dark. Like, they did the appraisal and we haven't gotten the report.
Did you hear what happened last week with one of our sales reps on the appraiser?
Oh, tell the story. This is a good one.
The seller said that something went missing in their home.
Yeah, like records, right? Vinyls.
I was like, you said records. I'm all vinyl, like James Brown, maybe? I like made a joke.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's kind of funny.
It's
a little. I think it's, and the borrower was super understanding, but nonetheless, like it does, of course, it reflects poorly on the lender. It just is going to. However, it is worth noting that these AMCs, an appraisal management company, it is a third party, has nothing to do with the lender.
Exactly.
Right. So whether those records did or didn't get stolen is to be determined. Right.
Right.
They ordered another appraisal through another company. They got it back, and the deal's moving forward. But
That's pretty. It doesn't happen. That does not happen.
Yeah.
Like the appraiser showed up, did it,
Took a couple pictures. They said
took 3 pictures, right?
And my James Browns, baby.
And my vinyls. It's a good one.
How does that happen? I mean, at this point, when my phone rings and it's one of the sales reps, I know that there's a problem. That's really the only time my phone rings now. If it's someone on the team, I know it's a problem. So I picked up like, yo, what's up, buddy? Oh, dude, you're never gonna guess what just happened. I'm like, you are kidding me. Like, no way. Sure enough, saw it in writing. I'm like, that's new. That's a new one for sure. So can't shield you from all things.
Right? It's like I don't even know the name of the appraiser, Mr. Customer. I'm sorry that happened to you, but
let's work on a solution.
Let's find a solution.
Let's find a solution.
Can we find those? Can we find those items on eBay and just replace them for them?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny, dude. Who has? Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then last thing I kind of wanted to talk about, which we haven't closed a ton of them yet, but it seems that lenders are becoming a lot more comfortable with kind of the traditional creative financing, like seller carrybacks. Mm-hmm. I've denied a lot of deals. I've just instantly said, "Hey, man, I don't have a good solution for that." Ryan's amazing at his job and doesn't like telling that to people, so he goes and finds solutions for that. And then it turns out a couple of our lenders already offer solutions for that.
We didn't even know it.
And we didn't even know it. So shame on me for not asking in the past.
Good job, Nate.
But good job, Nate.
Good job, Nate. So we have a guy that works for us, Nate, who has closed dozens of transactions himself at this point. He's a real estate investor and started brokering on his own. It's just absolutely kicking ass. And he does a bunch of the seller carrybacks, right? And he asked some of our lenders if they do it, and they do, and here we go. So just priced one out yesterday, but we're not going to move forward with it. The seller and the buyer worked out a different agreement, and they're going to do something that isn't going to involve us. But essentially what it would have looked like is, let's say that your down payment is going to be 20%, right? So instead of you coming up with that 20%, the seller will essentially hold that 20% in a second position throughout the transaction. So that now acts as like you basically got a gap funder.
Yeah.
So if you are a savvy investor, and there's obviously an entire world of the sub-2 community and everyone that does this and their mothers, it's knowing that there's actually hard money as lenders that are okay with it. They go, okay, cool. It's going to be some sort of seller financing. They'll usually come in at a lesser leverage, making the carry to be higher. Yeah. So I think in this circumstance, it was like a 35% carry. Okay. But what it would have been like a $65,000 carry for a 1-year term, and then at the end when they sold it off, then basically that the seller would get their money. Got it. So how they structure it, and this is what I actually was talking to Nate about, is because he does this all the time. Yeah. Is the investor will approach the seller and say, "Hey, I'm going to give you, 70% today of the purchase price, and I'm going to make monthly payments to you, whatever our agreement is, and then I'll do a balloon payment at the end, and maybe I'll even sprucing up the deal and give you an additional $15,000 or whatever." Yeah. Right. So it's a great way to get your deals done if you're liquid sensitive or cash sensitive, because it also really drives down the liquidity requirement. So, because a lot of the lenders that have liquidity requirements, they're usually, the down payment, a couple months interest reserves, plus a considerable amount, or anywhere from 10 to 15% of the renovation cost. So when you take out the down payment, now, hey, you might have needed $36,000 to get this deal done, and now you only need like $8,000. Yeah. Right. So you're going to get into this deal for like $8,000. Yeah. So huge solution.
Yeah. So super stoked we can actually offer it now, and we have good solutions from lenders that we trust. Yeah. Right. And so I'll just kind of touch on that is when you're working with futures funding, 95% of the time, we are bringing you to lenders that we've closed dozens and dozens of transactions with. So we know their underwriting process. We know how they operate. We can foresee timelines or most issues, right? Mm-hmm. Not all issues. Like I've been doing this for 11 years, and I still learn funny new things every month, right? Like there's something that comes up like, I don't know, call a lender. Yeah. I don't know. But our experience, like between the three of us, you, me, and Derek, we have 25 years of experience in this space. And that's a lot of loans, like a lot of loans, right? So we've seen a lot. Not everything, and I hope I never see everything, because then I'm done. But, we have a ton of knowledge for our lenders, and you get to benefit from that going through us, right? We're just going to be able to walk you through it better than most. Sometimes we know the products better than the actual reps that we're talking to at the lender.
I will leave their name out of it, but yes. Absolutely.
In fact, we've gotten reps fired from lenders because they didn't know their product as good as we did.
Anytime I'm going to go to a new lender that I've never worked with for whatever reason, right? Yeah. Let's say it's a state issue or whatever, right? I'll let the client know.
You're going to know.
Like, hey, just so you know, you and I are in this together. This is a brand new lender. This is what they're saying they can perform. Like, okay, fire properties that have fire damage and water damage, significant mold, and if some lenders will see that as a complex renovation, and they'll really ding you on leverage.
Correct.
So it's really going to increase your cash to close. Well, if you have one lender that says, no, that's good, we can do it. Okay, are you sure? Right? So I'm interviewing them, I'm asking them all the right questions, but hey, I've never closed a loan with them before. So I by no means am ever going to pass that to the client like, hey, come with us, you're good. It's like, hey, this is the solution. What I find is that when there's usually one person that has the solution, we got to just kind of be wary. That's all. It's not to say that it's not going to work.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, and because surprises suck. In this world, surprises just flat out suck. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the added value is that you can have off-brand solutions.
Yeah. Well, awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get my little self going southbound and see how much oceanside traffic I hit. While you're still in California, this might be the last time I'm here. We might be doing this with a big, I don't know. Maybe the sign will stay.
Right. We'll see.
All right. See you next time.
All right. Later.
You.
If you are interested
Oh.
in becoming a broker who does not suck, hit us up. We are looking to hire roughly 20 originators over the next couple months and would love to have a conversation with you.
I like it.